right. It's Chris Hinshaw. I want to talk to you guys about 21.3 and 21.4. First of all, I got to say that CrossFit, you know what? You delivered. I actually thought that Dave might be losing his edge on writing of workouts and he's run out of ideas. But man, this format, I got to say that this workout, it's really creative. I love the interval style. I love, that they have this rest in between rounds. Anytime that you throw in recovery in an interval workout, what it does is it forces or it gives an opportunity to the athlete to maintain a higher level of intensity for a longer duration. I mean, that's why we write workouts that have recovery built into them, is that it allows an athlete to experience more time at an intensity that they wouldn't be able to sustain without that available rest. So I have also spoken with a number of athletes about this workout, and I've got to say that the reaction is overwhelmingly positive. The fact that when you look at this and people say it looks fun, as a coach, this is an incredible opportunity because now you have an athlete that's motivated. We're not trying to talk them into something. I write a lot of workouts that essentially look like a laundry list. And the reason why it's a list is because you create motivation in the athlete the further down in that workout they go. And so here, a open workout has created that level of enthusiasm, that level of motivation. What I want to talk about is what other coaches and other athletes are not talking about. And that is this whole aspect of athlete ownership. The fact is that this workout is a test. It's a competitive test. It's like doing a maximum effort. And athletes, the truth is that you, by doing a test, you've got to learn something about yourself. Because in this workout, you're taking responsibility for your performance. You own this workout. And so if you experience something that goes wrong, then it's something for you to be able to learn on. And so I'll talk about that at the end of this recommendation or review of 21.3 and 21.4. But what we must do is we must recognize that athletes take possession of this workout. Now, the number one thing that as an athlete that you must do is you've got to come up with a plan. It is very important to come up with a plan so that you're able to reflect on your execution of that plan afterwards. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? And if you had a chance to do it over again, what could you correct in order to improve your performance? So in this workout, the number one thing that you have to do is you have to figure out, am I going to finish under the time cap for 21.3? That's important. Now, you have to make a guess at it. And the more experience you get at guessing of these workouts, the more accurate you get at the actual time estimate for you individually. So make that effort. Now, the other thing that you have to do is you have to be looking at the 3 rounds. In those 3 rounds, you've got to be looking at which of the 3 rounds is going to be the biggest challenge for you. So for me, that second round of thrusters is probably going to be the biggest difficulty for me. Now, why is that? Well, the truth is that in that first round, all of your energy systems are turning on. And because that first round isn't going to last long, you're not going to get a huge accumulation of fatigue. And so you're going to go into that 1 minute of recovery. And the fact is that you're actually not going to be as tired as you may thought you were going to be. I need you to be thinking about something though. Look at what the Panchak brothers did in their 1 minute of recovery and compare it after they finished their 3rd round. After they finished their 3rd round before they started 21.4, you know what they did? They sat down. But what did they do during their 1 minute of rest? They squatted. They tried their best to lower their heart rate, but the fact is that they were squatting. They weren't moving. And so that tells me that they did not have a ritual. You must have a ritual in that 1 minute of recovery. What exactly are you going to do? And the number one thing that you're going to do in that 1 minute of rest is you're going to do an assessment of your level of fatigue. Now, how do I do that as a coach? You know what I did? Looking at the video, I looked at their chest move, their stomach move. It looked at the rate of breath. You know, Neil Maddox brought up something that was really valuable that didn't get picked up on. In the clip from CrossFit HQ, he said that you monitor the breathing cadence of the competitor, which is absolutely right. You know, one of the beauties of Neil is in working with him in the past is that he was a sponge for that type of knowledge. That gave him competitive advantage. But here, as an individual, you must monitor this on your own. Are you in control of your breath or are you hyperventilating? So hyperventilation, what it is it's a sign that your muscles are not getting a sufficient quantity of oxygen. They're starving. And so as much shaking that you do of your arms, the fact is that until you get back in control of your breath, the muscles are never going to settle. But once you do get that breath back, then you know what? Your muscles will start recovering. So when are you back in control of the breath? We do it based upon the cadence of the breath. Now, swimmers, without a doubt, they have the best breathing cadence. They breathe on a rhythm. Why? Because their heads are underwater. So in the movement of running, how do you do it? You do it based upon the cycle of breath per steps. In the gym, for this workout, how do you do it? The cadence is 1, 2, 3, breath. 1, 2, 3, ha. 1, 2, 3, ha. 1, 2, 3, ha. If you are on that 4-count cadence, your breathing is back in control. Once you are in control, now you could start moving your muscles because they're getting enough oxygen to help clear some of that fatigue. That's important. Establish your ritual. Do not squat on the ground the entire minute of time. The muscles, all you're doing is with that isometric hold is holding that lactate in those muscles. That was a mistake, and there's an opportunity for improvement. So come up with your game plan. Now, moving into that second round, for most of us, that will be a challenging round. Why would round 3 be that tough round? Well, the reason is for most of us, the bar muscle ups, and thank God I'm in the 55 plus group, but the bar muscle ups is going to force most people to break it up. Even the Panchak brothers broke up those chest to bar, or those bar muscle ups. So it's going to be a chance to do a little bit of recovery. Now, I much rather see athletes break up what they do up on the pull-up bar. It's less time consuming to break those up. Every time you drop the barbell, the fact is that it takes significantly more time. So that brings up your third task, and that is you have to determine where is your challenge going to be in the movements. Is it going to be in the thruster? Is it going to be in the various pull movements on the rig? Or is it going to be in the front squats? That you have to understand. The whole purpose of this plan is so that your brain is not surprised. If your brain is surprised by something that you didn't plan on, and it is worse than you ever expected it to be, you will underperform. So the whole purpose here is to kind of lay out a framework so that you're not surprised. The main thing that you want to do here in this workout is to be aware of what is coming. And so that's what I want you to be thinking about in coming up with this plan. Now, what do we do at the end of the 21.3? Well, the fact is that your heart rate is going to be soaring. The fact is that you're going to have substantial accumulation of lactic acid. The rule of thumb is this, that you essentially want to sit down, lay down for a good minute of total time, get control of the breath, get the heart rate down. Start focusing on taking deeper breaths, slower breaths. Now, the fact is my lungs are 6.2 liters in size, and so I have to move a lot of air in and out I must clear that carbon dioxide. I must get a good respiratory exchange rate. I must focus on that. Now, after about a minute, I'm going to start moving around slowly. I'm going to keep the muscles moving. I want to keep the blood circulating. I want to help my recovery. Now, this brings in one of the most important factors. Are you an athlete that is good at recovery? Are you better at longer time domain workouts? Are you considered an endurance athlete? Are you a athlete that's better in body weight movements than barbell heavy movements? If you are, then that changes your strategy a lot in the number of lifts that you will be attempting as far as the complex in 21.4. I want you to realize that if your recovery isn't the best, you're going to struggle with doing more than 2 attempts. So be aware of that. I would strongly encourage everybody to start putting some initial weight on the barbell at around 2 minutes. I would recommend to do an initial lift, and I would do probably a hang clean and maybe even a jerk to test out my shoulders. Let's face it, 21.3 is going to cause some shoulder damage as well as grip damage. So you want to do a test to see how your grip is feeling, as well as testing the shoulders. So I would do 60 to 70% of my targeted end weight that I believe that I would be doing. Personally, for me, I would make 3 attempts, and I would, at around 2.5 minutes, make my first attempt in my warm-up round. About a minute later, I may want to do a slightly heavier warm-up round. And then about a minute after that, I'm going to break into my first complex movement. The thing is I want to make sure that I'm moving quickly through the complex. I'm not pausing at the top of the deadlift. I'm moving quickly through. The one area of concern that I do have is the not getting full lockout at the top, especially on the hang clean, all right? So be aware of that. That would be the one area of concern by rushing through the complex. And remember, the last piece here is that this is a shot buzzer type format, meaning if you pull that barbell off of the ground starting your deadlift with 1 second remaining in your 7 minutes of 21.4, that round, that will count. So be aware of the clock. Now, one of the things that's nice that CrossFit did in this workout, they did an outstanding job with the layout. They took the guesswork out as far as the distance your bar needs to be away from the rig, the bar, for pull-ups. That's beautiful. I love that they took that out. As athletes, make sure you have enough weights down by your barbell so that you're not scrambling. There's nothing worse than wasting time by manipulating the weights. That's just a miss. In summary, your job as athletes is own this workout, make decisions for yourself, and learn something. You are responsible to go to your coaches and talk about your strengths and weaknesses and your goals. Without that information, as a coach, there's nothing I can do to help you. So if you struggled in the thrusters and you had shoulder fatigue, or maybe you didn't recover as well as you thought you were going to do, this information is critical. You give me that information, now you know what I could do is design workouts that targeted adaptations to drive in the direction, not that I want, but that you want. And there's the relationship. And so take this as an opportunity to learn something about yourself and something that you can bring your coach so that your coach can help you achieve your goals more efficiently and more effectively. You know what? Again, shout out to CrossFit. This workout, a home run. Well done. Athletes, enjoy this one. These don't come along often. This is going to be a good one. And like I said, learn something about yourself. Take that ownership.